Welcome in to another episode of Snyder Basketball Take 3. I'm Dan Vance, filling in for Tim Atkinson. As always, Coach Jeremy Rauch. Jayshawn Underwood also joining us on the program. And Tuesday night, Coach Rauch, you started the season off, first official game, visiting Kendallville. Tell me a little bit about Tuesday night and what it meant for your program.
Really good night for the Panthers. Went away with 3 wins. Started with our freshmen and our JV team. Really played well. We had Tyler Harding, 21 points in the freshman group, hit 5 threes. Jade Moore, 19 points on the JV. Freshman won 40-32. JV with a 67-54 win. Carson had 15 points in the first half. He's a split guy with JV and varsity, so got off to a good start, and then the varsity group kind of perpetuated that good start with a strong first quarter. Michael Ely with 8 points early on, and we kind of were able to establish the pace that we wanted early, and our defensive intensity was right where it needed to be. So right off the bat, I was feeling good about kind of where we were at.
How important was establishing that perimeter game? In the first quarter, you guys really did that with Jayshawn defensively. Michael hitting some big shots. That's
our strength, right now is sharing the basketball, pushing in transition, flying the wings, and then obviously shooting. We have a lot of guys. We hit 10 23s for the game. So, our shooting strength is going to be big, and it's going to open up things inside for Clevis now and also for Dylan.
Going into that second quarter, you guys really started to establish the pace, pushing the pace a little bit more, putting some pressure on them. Dylan comes out with a big dunk in transition, and definitely build some energy for you guys.
Yeah, and that's tricky too because we want to score fast. We want to score within the first 7 seconds, but we still have to negotiate if we don't have that, then to flow a little bit better, and then to kind of move the basketball around. Early on in the second quarter, I felt like we were stagnant a little bit, but then our pace did, I feel like, wear on them throughout the end of the second quarter. Dylan spread them out a little bit with a big dunk. We hit a couple threes there at the end of the second quarter and finally pushed it up, I think, to about a 7-point lead, went into the half with whatever it was, 4 or 5.
Momentum-wise, what did you talk to this team about at halftime?
Well, our strength is our bench and our depth, right? So we want to be able to utilize all the guys and our weapons and have trust in the group that we have. At the same time, our bench is only a factor if we maximize possessions. Our bench is only a factor if we play supremely hard and challenge them and wear them down mentally just as much physically. So put the throttle on, right? Keep pushing the basketball, sprint every time, keep pressuring, keep doing what we're supposed to do, and make value of the time that you have and the quality of minutes, because we're going to try to play everybody, and the quantity hopefully can wear the other team down.
When you talk about that quantity, you did go deep, with 11 guys deep in the first game. What does that say about your comfort level with the group of guys you have?
So it's a little bit of both. It's both a process of feeling out kind of who's where and, establishing their kind of rotations and what they can maintain in terms of minutes throughout the course of the season. But it's also, we have confidence in these guys and what they can bring on the floor. We went 1 through 11 with Clevis on the bench. So, essentially everybody that played provided value. And so that's something that we want to keep using and keep riding out until, eventually we'll get into a place where we kind of settle in on a rotation. But up to now, we're trying to still kind of figure out what that looks like.
You talk about adding Clevis in. Now, in the third quarter, East Noble kind of tried to take it inside. Ali, Brent Cox did a really good job inside for them. What are some things that you guys are going to take out of that and you learned in that third quarter?
Well, credit Coach Eakins as well as making a concerted effort to get the ball inside, even from the first possession of the second half. They really focused on that, and they outscored us in the third quarter. And so it's nice to learn lessons while ultimately winning. And interior defense was initially probably an Achilles heel for us, and that was amplified there in the second half. We just got to work harder. We got to work harder on our post defense on the ball. We got to work harder at fronting the post. Post defense is about being lower, wider, tougher. It's not necessarily about physical strength. It's just as much technique and mental fortitude to be able to get it done. And those things have to improve. And at the same time, with a big piece of that, literally and figuratively, in Clevis, he's going to help solidify the interior defense.
Now, leaving the third quarter, only quarter that you trailed at the end of, what was your message between the third quarter and the fourth quarter?
It's ultimately still, if we want to wear them down, we want to be strongest at the end of the game, and we want to put that that big push on by the end. So we still kind of felt like we were in a good spot, but we needed to execute a little bit better. One thing we don't want to do is be a team that only plays well when we shoot well. We want to have a variety of weapons inside and outside. And I felt like we settled a little bit there in the third, and then the fourth I thought we attacked a lot better, and obviously that culminated with some big plays down the stretch.
Talk about your defensive pressure in the fourth quarter, some of it coming from Jayshawn, guarding Ali, significantly larger player, but your defense was really creating for your offense. You ended up going on an 8-0 run
Yep.
at the end of the game, scored the last 8 points, and how much was that defense playing a role in creating that offense?
That was huge. I mean, we had 5 stops in a row to close the game, and that was the most stops in a row we'd had all game. Is the one to finish it. And our best offense is our defense. You know, we don't want to run plays. We don't want to have to slow down. We want to just get out and go. And so for our offense, or for our defense to be able to start our offense, you know, that was huge. And it helped, obviously, with Jayshawn right in the middle of the fourth quarter, guarding a Division I 6A basketball player, right? And you know, that's the thing that Jayshawn brings, is that heart and that toughness. And that really was the turning point of the basketball game. And then we kind of pressed them there. We were down 3 with 2 minutes to go, got a big steal there. And it was neat to see our guys, 1, find ways to win, and then 2, be excited for the success of others. And you know, with Dylan's big 3-point play, you could see the bench excited. You could see, you know, the guys on the court excited, and that unity, and you know, that's something special, and that's something that we want to continue to build on.
Now that win coming out the first game, very experienced East Noble team. What does that do for the momentum going forward?
Well, that's what's exciting, is we know that, you know, we'll go back today and we'll say, listen, we played well and we did, you know, who knows how good we can be? What's our ceiling? Because we're just scratching the surface right now. We've got a lot of things to clean up. That one's done now. Let's kind of focus on getting better for ourselves. We got about 3 or 4 practices here where we can do that before we start thinking about the next opponent.
Now, we've talked about him a lot already here,
Yeah.
but tell me a little bit about the young man, Jayshawn Underwood, that is with us today.
You know, he's a warrior, and that's the thing we all love about Jayshawn, is he has an opportunity to play 2 sports at a high level here at Snyder, and that's difficult to do. But he does it because of his athleticism, because he's a high-character kid, because he cares about winning, and he cares about his teammates, and he cares about improving at those sports. And, you know, it can be difficult for a football player to come in straight off football season and have an immediate impact on basketball season. But with, you know, I think scoring 0 points, you know, he won the game for us in the way that he defended and kind of led the offense. So that's kind of one reason why I wanted to highlight Jayshawn today.
Yeah. Now, Jayshawn, let's talk a little bit about your role on this team as you see it coming into the season. Obviously, coming off of a successful football season, you bring in that championship caliber attitude. What is the role as you see it for yourself on this Snyder team?
Just a leader, just being able to play last year and get experience of all we went through last year. Just bringing positivity to the guys and just getting them energy so we won't have the same season we had last season. Just leading the offense and getting everyone involved, because we have a lot of shooters. Spread the ball around, everybody can score. So if I bring the defense intensity, everybody can just score.
Talk to me a little bit about the East Noble game, and we'll start with the fact that offensively, as Coach Rauch said, you don't have to do much. I think you shut the ball 1 time in that game, but you're still a strong floor general playing the point guard role. What are some things that you saw in that game that you knew were areas that you would help lead this team?
Well, all the guys can play ISO ball, but if you have a team playing just ISO ball, you're not going to win anything. So just being able to lead everybody in generalize the floor and spread everyone out and let everybody get their own shots, so we aren't all just playing ISO. I think that brings a lot. And then starting the defense on me, my ball pressure starts everybody else and gets everyone else involved in defense. Then we're all jumping around, diving on the floor for loose balls, and the benches are getting excited, and we're just happy to see everyone doing good.
Defensively, your pressure was big from the beginning of the game. The first quarter, you guys really controlled the perimeter. Then late, you get to guard Ali. Some people watching probably were like, that's a crazy matchup, but you did a really good job. Tell me some thoughts when you were out there on, he's a big guy, 6'8", Division I prospect.
Well, I expected him to post me up, but he kept going on perimeter, so I just got up in him, and if he tried to dribble, I was smaller than him already, so the ball was like right there with me. So he was taking tough shots, step back shots, and the guys around me helped defense pretty good. Like Dylan, they threw the lob to him. Dylan got a good steal there. So we all just played better as a team defensively that fourth quarter, and that's what really helped us win the game.
Do you think that being a leader on the defensive end is going to be something that's a big part of your identity?
Well, yeah, I think so, because a lot of our guys were necessarily just offensive minded, and Coach Rauch is stressing defensive importance in practice, and I think that's going to help a lot in the long run. So I think we need the defensive intensity, because defense wins games.
Let's talk about this program in the long term. Very young program, no seniors on this team. What do you think are some possibilities for this team going forward and some goals for the Snyder basketball program?
I mean, a lot of people look at us as no seniors, so we're not like experienced or going to do anything, but I would think we can make it to state and win the SAC and how they tournament and all that. I think we're just like, we're young, but we had more experience last year than a lot of teams. So, and we're like used to all that adversity. Like look at our record last year. It wasn't very good, but we competed with everybody. And I think this year we're ready to take to the next step and win games and win big games and close games.
Now, as mentioned, you already come from that football championship pedigree. How important is it for you that championship pedigree comes back to Snyder basketball?
I think it's good because, like with Snyder football, they teach you to love your teammates just like Snyder basketball does. And if you love your teammates, then you can do anything. And if you think you can win, then you can win. I think that's a lot of it. And if you work hard, then you'll get what your work does. So you always get what your work deserves.
Coach, you obviously have a well-spoken point
Right.
guard here. How important is it, again, to have a kid like this? The point guard's kind of the de facto leader, and he also comes from that championship mentality. How important is it to have that leading your way?
It's huge. You know, you want your point guard to be the coach on the floor, and you would want your coach on the floor to prioritize winning over all else, and to prioritize, you know, the team game and the competitive spirit, and Jayshawn epitomizes that.
Coming up in the next week, you guys don't play for a while here.
Right,
You got a little
right.
bit of a break. So what are some things you want to work on before you start preparing for the next game?
So, you know, we want to continue to work on our player development. You know, the best way to make your teams better, make your players better. That's with recovery, athleticism, nutrition, film, all those types of things, as well as skill development on the court. We got a good yoga session in yesterday, a little recovery day, got a chance to do a photo shoot, which was fun, and coming off of a win, it was probably even more fun. Today we're kind of back at it. You know, we want to clean some things up with our offensive today, our offensive flow, and then tomorrow will be a little bit more of a defensive focus. The coaches will get a chance to see Wayne on Saturday. We'll take probably Monday and Tuesday of next week to keep working on the things that we need to work on offensively and defensively. Want to shout out Coach Kibolowski again with our defense. You know, he takes pride in that. He takes ownership in that. And, you know, he'll have some things broken down for the guys of specific things that we need to improve on regardless of opponent. And then start thinking Wednesday and Thursday and next week we'll look at the Wayne Generals and see what they have to offer.
Quickly here, what are some things that Wayne is going to bring to the table that you definitely need to prepare for specifically?
You know, anytime you talk about another team, they have an identity. So whatever comes to mind, that's their identity. And no matter no matter what team that Wayne has, or when we're playing them, or what we have, they play so hard and so physical. So that's their identity. You know, it's going to be a dogfight. We went 9-0 in the conference 2 years ago, but Wayne had the lead in the fourth quarter, and I think they probably finished about 500. And they had a good group, but more importantly, they played so hard. They were the tougher team last year. They were the more physical team. They were ready. They brought the fight. This year, that's going to have to be us and something we're ready for.
That game coming up next Friday, the start of the boy-girl doubleheader, correct? Yep. So SAC action, boy-girl doubleheader, as Wayne will, we're here?
It's home game.
We're here,
Yeah.
Snyder, yeah.
Yeah.
So Wayne's going to visit Snyder and take on the Panthers. That'll wrap it up for this week. Coach Jeremy Rauch, Jayshawn Underwood, thanks for joining us. Snyder Basketball, Take 3.